wake up at dawn most mornings lately, and every time I wonder what kind of story awaits me today. When I get up in the dark, barely opening my eyes, slowly stomping to the kitchen for the first glass of water, washing my face, dressing up a little bit clumsily, and setting food out of the door, I never know what kind of day I will live through in the next 24 hours. Will this sleepy wondering be worth it? Or perhaps I should have stayed in bed for another hour or two. Will the sunrise be beautiful? Will the sky get covered in purple clouds? Every day is a new story, and I simply wake up to witness that story unfold from the very beginning. Perhaps the day will simply be gray and bleak, as it happens quite often this time in winter, but even still, I'm sure my silent, lone wanderings at dawn will make yet another beautiful memory. In winter, I find it hard to be creative. My mind is always overfilled with thoughts and worries as I glance at bare carcasses of trees outside my window, with not a sign of life in sight. Winters are too long, and it's easy to enter the state of apathy. It feels like we live through winter in a collective state of waiting, when all lives are put on pause and all we can do is look forward to the eventual awakening. This is why I find my solace in early mornings. It's inevitable that life and creativity will pour into your heart early at dawn. This is when you see the sky change colors from deep blue to bright orange. You are suddenly able to witness the change real time. Each winter morning is different, and we've come a long way from frosted plains to mild, warm February winds, which promise the arrival of new season. Soon, very soon. I notice how different my life has become. I always thought that I needed to have one defined someone I want to become, that there needs to be one clear purpose, one clear skill, one task I have to do in life. But it always seems strange, somehow very needlessly confining. My life is a collection of moments which all combine into one story, and the story has chapters which constantly change. There are big tasks, the main storyline I live in, and there are small things, little things which change constantly. Stories which one sunny afternoon turned me into a bread baker, kneading and stretching glutinous ball of flour, salt and water into food which will last me for the foreseeable week. Bread is something I used to buy at a bakery near my apartment in London. The smell of freshly baked pastries and breads permeated through the streets. Through a little window on the basement floor, you could see people kneading and shaping the sourdough early in the morning. I thought you need to be a baker to make bread, trained, professional, with strong hands and a lot of patience. And whilst that is true, I recently also found myself baking. Unprofessionally so, but exercising patience I never knew I had before, waiting for bread to rise, giving it time to breathe and develop. I also never thought of myself as a gardener, and whilst most of the time I'm simply sowing seeds purely based on intuition, I'm seeing little snowdrops and daffodils I've sown in autumn peeking through the ground. This is what I mean when I talk about singular goals being needlessly confining. There are things you can be and things you can do as long as you're willing and brave enough to try. Perhaps as humans we mistakenly think that we need to be a master of one thing, which I find strange, as there is an entire world of things to learn and to become all around. But then again, it's not about what society says or I say, or anyone really says is right. What is right for me may not be right for you, and that's the most beautiful thing about life. Each of us has our own story to tell. I'm so fortunate to live near many beautiful villages, meadows and woods that witnessing the change of seasons is pretty easy to me. One day I stumbled upon yew tree wood on one of my countryside walks. Most eerie, dark and strange wood I've ever come across to this day. I read about these evergreen trees, every part of which, as it appears, are deadly poisonous, so much so that even Shakespeare wrote about them in Macbeth. One of the oldest, longest-lived tree species in Europe and in Britain, held sacred by Druids and symbolized death and resurrection in Celtic culture. Wind-shaken trees creaked and wept above my head. I stood alone on a footpath, mesmerized and slightly scared. Not a single frame captured to this day on my camera transmits the eerie feel and the beauty of this woodland. This made me think, how often do we take a photo of a beautiful place and say that the camera doesn't do the justice to its beauty? The magical woods, or colorful sunsets, or mesmerizing landscapes, all of which strike us with their beauty, which we're so often unable to capture through this tiny screen. It looked so much better in real life, we said to ourselves so many times. And then we go on judging our own looks based on what we see on a photo or video on that same screen, not realizing that we are no different than that mesmerizing landscape, the magical wood or colorful sunset, all the beauty and the tiniest nuance of which we can only see in reality, looking directly with our own eyes. Oh, how much I would love to let you see what I see, not through the lens I point in your direction, but in a moment, through my eyes.